Hello from me, David Foster, and welcome to Beyond Borders. We're on the Oosterschelde, about to start off on a 2-year voyage around the world, following in the steps of Charles Darwin almost 2 centuries ago. It's a research scientific project, and more on that a little bit later. But another reason we are here is to take a look at how some of our Beyond Borders shows have come together. Our very first began on Sicily. We were lucky, just as this ship full of migrants was unlucky. The story we've come to investigate, how migrants were received in Italy, was playing out before our very eyes. We'd landed in Sicily's capital, Palermo, changed our immediate plans, and driven straight to the port of Catania.
It's difficult to arrive here in this country that is not so welcome as the rules should be respect like that. And it's shame that in 2022 we are still in this condition.
Io dissi Humanity, dissi non like this Biblo for Sicily. Biblo just German, Libia, Tripoli, resti là, militare là.
Basta?
Basta. This Italian cuore buono.
All of this led to a long conversation in Rome with the man in charge of Médecins Sans Frontières here, who'd brought the Geo-Barents into Italy to the fury of the country's new Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. We'd had to edit the interview for our original show. Here it is in full. Almost as if you are picking a fight with Italy. Why not go to Spain, go to France, go to a country where you know it is safe? You're provoking the Italians, aren't you?
Not at all. We are following the maritime law. The maritime law says that place of safety, the survivor has to be disembarked in the place with the minimum deviation of the route of the place, and also in the guideline it highlights all the human consequences of this. No,
but that means it's always going to be Italy, doesn't it? Because it's the closest.
Because of proximity. This in this case would be Malta and Italy. Once the survivors are disembarked, then we can open another discussion how to distribute these people in Europe, if they are seeking for international protection or not, etc. But this is a second discussion. The first moment, you need to ensure that they are safe on shore.
But with the Geo-Barents the other day, you knew they didn't want you to be there. Why not go somewhere where you know you can disembark them? Why continue to fight with the Italian authorities?
Because
you're trying to make a point.
Yeah, exactly. We are trying to make a point respecting the rights of the people and the obligation of the state. And Italy, in this case, they are signatories of the international convention that they are obliging the responsible authorities of the search and rescue region to respond to this emergency.
But can I just ask you this? Juan, in trying to make a point, are you not putting the health and indeed the lives of some of those passengers at risk?
It's not us putting them at risk. It's the authorities who are not giving us the ports, because I cannot navigate, let's say, it's granted that it's not healthy for anybody to be on board of a boat that cannot provide the services that the people need. Now, a boat is not a hospital, a boat is not a reception center, a boat is not a place where their vulnerabilities and needs can be assessed and tackled. So, whatever state, this, because emergencies are happening in this piece of the sea, but this applies to whatever piece of the sea elsewhere. I give you a very good example. You go out of this office, you have an accident and an ambulance is coming. What do you tell to the ambulance? Take me to the closest hospital, or do you take me to the hospital near my residence in the UK?
I tell you what I say to them. I say, if the hospital nearest to here is closed, take me to the first one that is open and working. And you knew that Catania was closed to you.
Yeah, but again, we need to push them to fulfill their obligations. And on the contrary, it's not granted that going to another place. What is granted that going to another place will deteriorate the situation of the people. We were having almost 600 people doing 1 day navigation, half a day navigation was going to worsen their condition. This is granted. And what is not granted, that any other place was given the possibility of disembarking them, because the other countries are calling on Italy to say, listen guys, when I'm having an incident or an emergency event in the North Sea, I'm the one responding. When this is happening in the Atlantic, I'm the one responding. This is happening in the Mediterranean Sea, few miles from your coast, you are the one responding. So each of them, they need to take their part with the emergencies that are happening in their region of competence.
Do you wonder about those migrants, and there must be thousands of them who try to make the journey, those that you don't find? Do you wonder about them?
The ones that we don't find, of course we wonder. That's why we always say we have official data saying how many people were dead or disappeared. And this is only the ones that we are aware of. So we are convinced that this number is totally underestimated. If we, as a civil fleet, we withdraw from this context saying, okay, this problem is not happening anymore, ignoring it, neglecting it, will be contributing to silencing the problem that we are having here. Because we are having a problematic situation in the Mediterranean Sea, and we cannot ignore it. We cannot pretend that this is over. So we go there to save life, firstly, to avoid them from drowning, to avoid them to be brought back to Libya, and on the other side to testify, to give a témoignage and witness what's going on over there. If we were not there, nobody will know about it.
But if you were not there, they might be tempted to not try it. They know that you will try and rescue them. If you weren't there to rescue them, there might not be such a number of migrants trying to do it.
Let's say this thesis that you're proposing has been on the table for 7 years now, and it was many times academically demonstrated that it's not sustained. We only contribute to the arrivals in Italy in less than 15%. So our contribution to the situation of the people arriving to this country is very minimal. Almost 1/6 of the people arriving here is the one that we rescue. The moments that because of one situation or not, that we were having administrative blockage, that they were not letting us operate, limiting the humanitarian space at sea, the departures continue. During the COVID times, that also we were not able to operate, the departures continue. So it's more than demonstrated that this thesis is only propaganda.
Will you continue to try to dock in Italy and force the Italian authorities to take the migrants off the vessel? Will you carry on doing that?
As long as we don't have an official mechanism of search and rescue with a clear mandate of saving life at sea, and not at deterrence and border control operation, we need to be there. We'll be forced to be there because we cannot allow ourselves letting people drown. And then following the rescue that we are doing, we'll continue applying the law, the obligation of our masters to react, to rescue the people, and as I was saying before, written in the maritime law that these countries, Italy, Malta, and the following coastal states sign.
No, you
Rescue only finalizes.
You've already said this. My question is, will you continue to dock in Italy? Yes or no?
If we have the people there, we'll go to the closest place to disembark. In this case, it's Malta and Italy. We'll continue requesting the same.
Thank you.
So, what of one migrant who'd actually made it, been given asylum in Italy? Grateful? No. He wanted to go to England and hoped that one day some of his 28 brothers and sisters would be able to join him. When you arrived here, can you tell me the emotion? Relief, worry, trepidation, scared, but happy?
Well, I cannot say it was a relief because The feeling for me as an individual who had to experience a lot of humiliation and inhuman situation on the other side of Mediterranean, arriving here knowing that I left thousands of people who we had protested for 3 months and 10 days with, calling for recognition, only to be neglected by the authorities, by the international community, and by the local authority in Libya. Arriving here and then the feeling that Italy is still financing the system that I had to suffer from, that so many people are still suffering from. I never felt safe. I never felt any kind of relief. I had a very strong will to continue the fight, to continue denouncing this system.
But it seems to me you're blaming Italy for this, and yet Italy is giving you sanctuary.
Well, I don't look at Italy as a state. I look at it as a global shelter for everybody. Wherever I want shelter, I shall find it. I don't look at the government, I look at the society. If I'm included into the society, it doesn't mean that Italy is giving me sanctuary. Right?
But the Italian people are helping you.
They are not helping me.
Do you not get money from
No.
the state?
No. The help I'm talking about is my
Do you
due
get money?
rights.
Do you get money from the state?
No, I don't get.
So you have to pay for yourself?
I have to pay for myself, provide for my accommodation and so on.
How do you do that when you don't have a job?
Well, I communicate with my friends. There are a lot of people who are also concerned about the situation in Libya and who have been following up our protest. And they try to put up some little support for me to continue the work that I'm doing.
So other migrants who are still in Libya are paying for you to live here in Italy?
No,
Who's paying
people
for you?
around Europe.
Who is paying for you to live here?
Other people in Europe through different networks. The civil sea rescue and the other people. So they know what I'm going through and what I'm trying to do.
So you're getting this money from people like MSF and charities?
Yes.
How difficult has it been for you to get used to a culture, a way of life that was so different?
Well, everything is difficult because I am in a society where upon your arrival, the first thing you have to do is to integrate. They tell you about integration, which is not inclusion. Integration means that I have to let go of my culture, I have to learn Italian language, I have to learn different cultural things, I have to start eating pizza, I have to eat different type of food, not the food of my will. So all these things is a bit difficult and it's challenging, where you're being, for you to be accepted, you have to integrate into a society. It's very difficult for me and for other people.
But it's natural, isn't it, that if you come to somebody else's country, you try to fit in. And if you wanted your own food, you could cook it and buy it. You don't have to eat pizza, but you have to get on in a new society.
Well, I can say it's natural, but the way of acceptance is through this. People that don't accept you, like if you go in the street and you want to make friends, you don't smoke, you don't drink wine, at a dining table, people find it unacceptable. So why do I have to change in order to be accepted?
It seems to me that you just wanted to get away from where you were rather than wanted to come to Italy or to Europe.
That's absolutely right, because when I left my country, I fled to the neighboring country in Sudan, trying to find shelter. But since our country just divided and we broke into another war, northern Sudan couldn't give me shelter. And the same when I went to Chad, where I was granted asylum. I lived there for 2 years and a half. But given the crisis in Chad, you know, it's hosting about 6 million refugees, and it's one of the poorest countries in Africa. So I couldn't do something for myself. I'm a young man who wanted to have a quality education, who wanted to do something for myself and by myself. So since I couldn't survive, I found myself in Libya with the intention to work in Libya until there is peace in my country so I could return home. But only when I was met with these nightmares made of torture, exploitations, forced labor, forced conscription. What choice had I? What option had I to return back to South Sudan where I'm being prosecuted? No.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is you're here in a different country. You're here on a different continent, and you seem unhappy about that.
I shall seem unhappy because the idea was not to leave home. I wanted to be where I was born, where I was raised with my people, contribute to my place where I was born and brought up. But unlike becoming a refugee, I became none of this. So I have to accept, even according to the international law of seeking asylum, that the first country I approach, I must stay in Italy. I wouldn't have wanted to stay in Italy, but I'm following the rule of law.
But will you come, you think, to like Europe or Italy, or do you still resent the fact that they seem to be stopping so many migrants from making the crossing? Some people may say you are ungrateful.
I don't resent the European cities or the people. I resent the politics. I resent the people who are making these decisions. And even the society that is still contributing, trying to exclude themselves from this policy making, saying that, oh, we are just Italian citizens, we're just European citizens, and the politics is not our making. So,
But are you ungrateful? Some people might say you were being ungrateful because you're not saying thank you.
I shouldn't say thank you, because I don't feel like I need a permission to come to Italy. I don't feel like I need a permission from any state to migrate, because it's my fundamental human right. It's my nature to migrate when I need. It's a nature of humans to migrate for educational purposes, for different things.
So anybody, anywhere in the world, should be able to go wherever they want.
That is it. That is it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just stay there, don't move. I just still need you to talk together
Thank you,
for a
Yambio.
second.
Thank you. Oh, I know there's something else I wanted to ask. I forgot. Can we
Yes,
carry
of course,
on?
and still
I'll pick
rolling.
up. Yeah. You have 16 brothers and sisters with your mother. Your father's had 12 other children. So you come from a family of 28 young people. Do you think you'll see them again? Because they are all still in Africa.
I don't think, but I still have hope that the world should become a better place when we are trying to fight for a safe passage, for a freedom of movement for everybody, so that even my country could have peace and I could travel back home to see my people. And they can have the freedom even to migrate, to travel to each European country, and we could meet. So I still have hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, 8 months after our programme, the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni admitted that the EU and Italy needed immigrants, offering 500,000 visas for non-EU nationals, while saying that she would crack down on people smuggling networks. So, to Marseille and what have been labelled no-go areas, where drugs gangs operate with little police interference. Here we met Amin Kasachi, whose brother was murdered by one such gang. Unexpectedly, we're invited into one of these deprived estates. Bonjour, merci. And the thing is, not only is there no window pane in there, oh yeah, there's very sharp glass by the look of it. Whoa. Can you take it out one more time? Yeah, look, take a look at that. This sharp piece of glass, anytime you put your hand in there, if it breaks, you risk losing fingers, a lot of blood, maybe even more than that. That is incredibly unsafe. Hold this for a moment. They are a hospitable family. There we go, we're getting one of our guests. This is, what did you say, bœuf?
Yes.
So beef.
Et de mouton aussi.
Yeah. And sheep. And it certainly is tasty. Oh, that is very nice. But the taste does linger into the next day. It's made with rancid fat, deliberately kept in the kitchen for more than 5 years.
Semaine. C'est du beurre rassis.
C'est du beurre, it's fermented butter.
5 ans. Fermenté 5 ans.
It's been fermented for 5 years. It's a very traditional Moroccan product.
Wow.
Morocco. Yes.
It's not just me. You have a go. Go on, do you have a smell?
Il connaît, Amin. Il connaît.
Yeah. Racine. Racine.
Yes. Semaine.
Wow, 5 years that's been hanging around.
Semaine.
Thank you. It's going to make me strong, is it?
Yes, let's hope.
Visit du Maroc.
What we didn't show in our original programme was the friendly, unassuming man who looked after the Muslim prayer room. He's not the imam, but he says he's helping with all the jobs just for his faith.
Si vous voyez le tour qui est en bas,
C'est très dangereux.
il y a des gens qui font du trafic. Mais nous, on s'en fout d'eux, yani. Ce ne sont pas des gens qui viennent ici. Et dans les quartiers là, il n'y a rien.
And then on to the Canary island of La Palma, still recovering after a volcanic eruption in 2021 that devastated much of the island. And most impressive for me, perhaps, a man who'd lost his seafront restaurant, completely buried under the molten lava. He was serving, at the time we first saw him, school meals as part of a fundraiser in the town.
Muy diferente que el otro restaurante, ¿no?
Sí, muy diferente. Sí.
Gracias. Oh, más. Thank you.
We decided to see if we could persuade Carlos Denis to come out to sea with us, to view the place where Kiosco Los Guerres used to be. He was reluctant at first, and once offshore, I could understand why.
Cómo la gente miraba para esa montaña y disfrutaban viendo la montaña por donde bajó esa lava y viendo el mar. Se fue a un sitio único. Es un sitio sumamente especial. Era un verdadero paraíso. Y estaba allí.
Es muy difícil. Sí, entiendo.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Es muy difícil para el corazón, ¿sí?
Sí. Hoy, primera vez que yo vengo para ver lo que había aquí y ahora lo ves todo negro.
Nada.
No ves nada. Y este volcán no ha desaparecido completamente. Allí, aquellas rocas que se ve, aquella montaña, allí debajo estaba el kiosco restaurante de los Guirres. Yo pienso que a lo mejor 3, 4, 5 años posiblemente podamos volver aquí otra vez.
Sí. And I will come and eat there.
Sí, a ver.
Espero,
gracias. Ay, volcán malo, qué daño nos hiciste.
So it's often the questions you weren't prepared to ask in the first place that we hope make Beyond Borders as interesting as at least we think it is. Talking of journeys, we're with Stuart McPherson from Darwin 200, about to set off on the Oosterschelde for a 2-year journey around the world, hoping, you say, to make science interesting once again. How?
Well, we've got 3 main project objectives. The first is we're selecting the very best young conservationists, each from 200 countries and states around the world, and bringing them to the ship to learn new skills and new experiences, take back to their home countries, to drive forward conservation, to change the world of tomorrow. We're creating the world's most exciting classroom as well, beaming out every week for 100 weeks over 2 years during the journey. A whole range of projects and activities with experiments that people can replicate in their homes, to competitions, to activities, to prizes, non-stop every week for 100 weeks. And last but not least, we've got 8 really interesting research projects building on Darwin's legacy that likewise we're beaming live to our website.
And retracing his steps almost 200 years
Absolutely.
after he did this incredible voyage around the world. We hope to see you again sometime out there, Stuart. We hope to report on it for Beyond Borders. From me, David Foster, and the rest of the team, thanks for watching. And good luck to Oosterschelde.